Okay, so in the past few months, I came across two events that made me feel surprised and also very sad. And both events had to deal with judgmental people, or just people being judgmental towards friends of mine. And I just felt like talking about it on video as sort of a video journal type thing. So I'm not going to do any cuts, just going to talk to the camera and talk about why I felt sad and surprised about it. Let's talk about the first event. The first event was between my friends, people who knew each other, who I knew beforehand, because the second event is with people I barely met. But the first event was basically my friend texting me whether or not one of my friends was gonna hang out. Let's just call them friend A and close friend. So my close friend basically was gonna hang out because I invited him, and then friend A was like, well, my friend doesn't like that friend. And for some reason that surprised me a whole bunch, because I feel like I haven't heard that ever being said since like high school or college. I've been out of college for a while now, so it's like it just really surprised me. So I asked him why friend A's friend didn't like my close friend. And they gave a whole bunch of different reasons, bad first impressions, a lot of things that my close friend said that rubbed them off the wrong way. They just felt like it was unneeded and it was rude and stuff like that, which, the examples they gave weren't completely untrue, and I totally understood where they were coming from. If that person wasn't my close friend, then I might feel similarly in that it was rude, but I wouldn't judge them like so quickly and be like, I don't want to hang out with that person. So that surprised me a whole bunch. And then basically the conclusion was between me and friend A was, okay, let's just not have these friends hang out with each other. Let's make sure they're kept away from each other, which to me is a really bad solution, because I feel like people tend to judge others a lot more harshly when they don't really know them, when they're still strangers, or just acquaintances. If you were to talk to them more and actually get to know them, you'd probably be okay with them more and just like different aspects of them. Probably not the rude aspects, but just find better redeeming qualities. And that's my sort of approach to my philosophy to not being judgmental. Because for me, I try my best never to let first impressions take over what I think about someone, because the vibes they give off could be so different from like how they actually are. It could just be your mind playing tricks on you, or just the day for them not being a great day, them being tired, just so many different reasons for first impressions to not be a good indicator of how a person's behavior or how their personality is actually like. So I never try to rely on first impressions. So if someone's a little like rude, I usually just assume they're joking around or just very vocal about their thoughts, and that's just a quality about them that they grew up with, or they just don't really want to change. And that's totally fine with me. I'm not a person that is easily offended, so that's another reason why it's okay with me. But I know other people are very sensitive about those matters, so it's not like the solution to this issue of being judgmental isn't like tell the person who's judgmental, stop being so judgmental, because that's not going to change. I have friends who have told me, oh, I'm a very, very judgmental person, and they say it like they're very proud of it, which to me, I'm like, why are you proud of being judgmental? I just can't see it, but because I'm the opposite, I try not to be. But I guess they don't mind it and they like being judgmental, which is totally fine. Again, the solution isn't to try and change them, because they're most likely not going to change. The solution, I'll get to that towards the end, but the solution is something to do more with what you can control, like your response to hearing those things. So my response to hearing that was basically, firstly, don't tell my close friend, because that's just going to cause issues and drama, because the person who didn't like my close friend ended up seeing them during that hangout, and it made me feel super uncomfortable because, you know, having that knowledge and just like watching them interact, it's like, oh my God, it's like, I can't stand it. It just hurts because I know what that person thinks of my close friend and they're acting like super friendly. So it's really tough to deal with that. I just feel like a huge amount of dissonance in my head. But I think my resolution to that is the next time I hang out with my friend A's friends that don't like my close friend, I'm just going to ask them, you know, like why, like personally ask them in person why they don't like him, you know, so I can convince, or not try to convince, but just like give my perspective. Obviously, my perspective is largely biased because he's my close friend, but at least they'll hear what I have to say or hear my thoughts about it, and I'll let them decide from there, you know, if they still want to hold on to those first impressions or judgments, and that's totally fine with me, you know, like if they don't want to ever hang out again in the future. I just feel like it's my job as a friend to at least vocalize my thoughts to their thoughts. Not try to convince them about anything, but just express my feelings and express like who he is to me. So with that said, it'll at least clear my conscience and also make me feel better, and also give a chance for them to maybe give my close friend another chance. So that's my solution for event number 1. Now event number 2. So this one was rather recent, and it was I'd met like a lot of different people, and one of them at the very end of that event was talking about a friend of mine as well as somebody I just met. So basically, let's try to use new indicators of who they are. So good friend, I'm going to say good friend is my friend, and then good friends plus one is the person that was talked about, gossiped about, basically. Actually, both of them were, but basically, the gossiper was just saying how my good friend was this basic insert ethnicity here guy, like basic Asian guy, basic Hispanic guy, basic white guy, whatever, insert that ethnicity there. I'm not trying to like indicate who these friends are in case they're ever in videos in the future, but so I just, when I was hearing these things, I just felt kind of surprised. I mean, I was kind of playing a game and being distracted by playing this game with my other friends or other people that I met there. And so I was just sort of listening. So I just felt like it was hard for me to butt in and be like, but he's not, he's more than that. There's a lot more that goes on than what you see in the surface, right? And how you interact literally the first time you meet someone. I wanted to say those things, but I just felt like it would be like me eavesdropping and then butting in and being like blah, 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 and being confrontational, which is not a good solution, not something that you should do. But at the same time, I feel disappointed in myself that I didn't say anything because, you know, the gossiper ended up saying my good friends plus one was also like a female dog, like B word. I don't want to curse in front of the camera. I also don't ever curse, so but I thought that was like very sad because you just met this person and you're immediately calling them that, and it just made me really sad to to hear that people still do this. But there was someone else there that I met the same day that was friends with the gossiper, and she said, you know, I barely met them, I'm not gonna like judge them. And I was very happy to hear that from her. I was like, that was very admirable. I like really respected her after that. So I'm glad that was said, but at the same time, I just feel like because I knew this good friend, I should have said something. And I was disappointed in myself, but also sad to hear that people still do that, you know? Like, it's kind of strange to me. I mean, I guess I'm very naive, or very just like, I guess people don't usually, I mean, friends of mine have like gossiped about other people that I just don't know, but like, because I don't know them, I'm not going to give an opinion. But these two events were events where people talked about friends of mine that people I do know. So I feel like I just have more investment in that. So being surprised and being sad makes sense. But either way, I think the next time that ever happens, I'm just going to make sure I speak up, not try to be confrontational, like I said, but just, tell them, you just met this guy. Here are things about him that you may not have known. He's not just this super basic guy. And this other person that you're calling the B word, you also just met that person. Why not talk to that person a bit more? And I also met that person the same day, and that person was definitely very vocal and honest and just like very straightforward about what they said. But I don't think it was like, to me, I just thought that person expresses themselves that certain way, and that's just a quirk about them. That's just something that's their personality. But I guess it just doesn't mesh with other people, and it leads them to immediately judge them in that way. But I still felt like I should have defended that person. Or at least gave my thoughts, and just try to express my thoughts and be like, maybe this, maybe that. Not try to convince that person, but just give them my personal opinion. Because I do think weighing in with your personal opinion, especially if your opinion is on the other end of the spectrum, can at least ease off that sort of judgmentalness of the other person, and hopefully incite certain thoughts in their head, being like, maybe if I respect this person who's saying these things, I don't know if they respect me. I don't know if they talked about me afterwards, but at least I would have done what I felt was right. And that's my solution to how to deal with judgmental people. Like, obviously you don't want to just like agree with them and enable their like judgmentalness all the time, and be neutral all the time. I do think it's good to have, if you have neutral thoughts, express those thoughts too. That's still towards the positive if they're negative. So that's good too. But for me, next time I'm definitely like, these are my sort of lessons I've learned from these experiences. And I just wanted to share them with you guys. Just saying that, yes, next time I'm going to try my best to express my thoughts towards the positive and hopefully make some sort of a shift in their mind. And that's the best way I can think of off of the top of my head, because these are recent events, and I'm sure if I thought about this a lot more, I could come up with better solutions. But these are just off of the top of my head solutions for how to deal with, judgmental people. For me personally, that's just my approach. I'm curious to what you guys think down below. Like, if you want to comment and don't just be disrespectful and say like, okay, don't talk to that person or don't be friends with them or blah, blah. Like, these are people that you're probably going to interact with. Assume these are people you're going to have to interact with in the future. And I personally don't dislike them for being judgmental. I still think they're nice people, good acquaintances that I've met, and people that I would like to talk to more and get to know more. It's not like, I don't think the solution is to be judgmental yourself. That's just sort of fighting fire with fire, and then everything gets burned down. Everything starts getting worse. So if that's what you're gonna comment, just don't comment that, I guess. But let me know your thoughts down below. Even if they are negative, at least the example I gave just don't do that one. If they are negative towards like, okay, maybe the approach is a bit more confrontational, then sure, I'm interested in what you guys have to say about that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Completely one take, like I'm not going to cut anything. It was a very interesting experience. This is like a new setup for me too. And I just want to upload to this channel more, basically my thoughts and things that come up in my journal, because these are things I journal about quite a lot. And I just felt like this was an interesting experience for me. I might be, I guess, sheltered in that sense, that I don't hear too much gossip about my friends personally, because it's kind of strange to hear gossip about your close friends, right? Because most likely the people you're hanging out with know you're close friends with the other person. So they have to be pretty courageous, or like they have to feel very strongly about it to tell you. So yeah, those two events, let me know what you guys think. I hope, hopefully I'll make more videos like this in the future. I mean, I'm planning on it, but it's kind of difficult for me personally to try like new things sometimes, just because it takes energy and time, and just like me trying to break out of that shell. But I did make a video previously talking about how I'm moving towards that. So this is my attempt, and I hope you guys liked it. Later.